talk about what we're looking for the Bengals upcoming game against the Chicago Bears. I'll start off by saying this. I'll keep my point short and sweet because I definitely want to get to answering your questions. And if you guys can do us that favor, drop your question down in the comment section because we're going to get to all of your questions as much as possible. So bear with us. I would say the one thing that I'm looking for I'm going to be watching this new backup quarterback, Rocky Lombardi.
We finally brought the Lombardi to Cincinnati.
I was going to say,
we finally brought the Lombardi to
the
Cincinnati.
most like NCAA creative quarterback name that ever was.
Like
Yeah, no, that's a Heisman winning name right there for sure. Yeah,
and I think that I want to see more from the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see more from the defensive
100%.
line. I need to see it as a whole. I want to see it. Yes, Daniel is coming back too. Daniel will be back the last week in August. We officially got that down. It was important for him to come right before my birthday. My birthday is September 2nd. That's the day we actually launched the show. So he will be back. I'm really, really excited about that. I need to see more from the defensive line. It's very hard for me to say I want to see more from the backup offensive lineman because I think the expectation is limited. Oh, there's one guy we didn't talk about. Matt Lee.
Lee. I was saving him for this one a little bit.
Matt Lee, I'm excited to see an extended look at Matt Lee. I'll let Logan talk more about that. I think it's very, very simple what I'm looking for. It's very hard because again, starters aren't playing. We're not going to necessarily see everyone. I want to see Jermaine Burton still dominate the competition. I want to see a more extended look at him and just see how it all puts together. And yes, Ryan Sparks, I see you in the comments section. I want to see Devon Shaw Maxwell, who he's literally been hammering the table for week in and week out. He's like, boys, we'll talk about him. Talk about him on the damn show. Why don't y'all talk about him? So I'm excited to see Maxwell. Yeah. I want to see this 20-sack guy that everybody's raving about. Ryan Sparks is raving about. I want to see what he's got. I want to see what he brings to the table, and I want to see more from Chris Jenkins as well as you, Chuck 2624. I need to see more from Chris Jenkins. I'm excited to see more. Again, I don't want to judge him too much off of his early returns and what he showed his first game. I think there's more food on the plate. I think there's more meat on the bone, so to speak, and I think he's going to look good. Logan, what are your thoughts? What are you looking forward to see this upcoming game?
Yeah, I restrained myself from putting Matt Lee in my winners earlier just because he did play very little against pretty bad competition, but he looked great. So I think him kind of already getting more second team reps, in practice this week will be awesome for him. And now he's going to come into the game and play, we'd assume, a good chunk of it, which will be perfect to see because I think we all probably believe he's better than Trey Hill, but he's still 7th-round rookie. You got to see it. You got to keep seeing it to believe it. But he's very talented from what he showed last week. We got to kind of hope he continues to build off that. I know he came back to practice. I don't know if Dante Smith's going to play or not. I assume he will. If he's been back, that'd be a big one to watch too. Again, just because of how poorly Jackson Carman played and just a lot of the other backup offensive linemen in general. But on the defensive side of the ball, we talked about him a lot already a little bit, but DeJohn Anthony, I think he's going to see more reps this game and even the next game. And I'm kind of see how they use him versatility wise. I think, he can do a little bit of everything. So I'm kind of to see how they play into that. Are they going to stick him in one spot? Are they going to keep moving him around and really embrace that versatile player? Or are they going to keep him at safety or nickel or outside, whatever it is, just kind of see if we can get an idea on what their plan is for him. If there is one, not that there isn't one, but if they're going to kind of continue to move him around. I think those are my big ones. Obviously the linebackers at this point are getting kind of fun to watch to see if Jean Meta is going to continue his dominance because that was a fantastic performance.
I'm so jealous you can just say his name so easily. And I struggle with this stuff.
Honestly, that's probably our 3rd or 4th time getting in there. So yeah, we've had some reps. We got some reps.
And if you just say it, nobody's gonna be like, I think you said that wrong because nobody knows how to say it either. So you just say it, and then everybody's like, yeah, that sounds right. So yeah, that's how I do that. And then I think in general, just the receivers again. Cedric Jackson, Kendrick Pryor, Lassiter. They're not bad players. They're not great players, but they all provide a little something that's interesting. Same thing with Hakeem Butler. Hopefully he gets some more run. Just the skill positions in general. I didn't even mention the tight ends. I'm pretty excited about too. Eric Hall and McLaughlin this week. I'm hoping we get to see a little bit more of them.
Yeah. I think a lot of what Logan said is valid. The guys that you saw go against the 3s and the 4s, right? Yeah. Those guys who performed well, Jermaine Burton, Matt Lee, and some of these back end roster guys, just seeing them for a longer duration, second team guys. Apparently, Matt Lee and Jermaine Burton have also been getting runs with the 2s and the 1s. So just really interested to see that. We talked previously about how it seemed like the Bengals were kind of doing everything they could to keep Trey Hill on the roster by trying to get him out there on special teams a little bit and see if maybe he could fill in a role in this new kickoff as being one of those bigger bodies. But you know who's great for that is a bigger body who also moves very well in space, and that is Matt Lee. So if he continues to look very good against the twos, I'm going to be very excited about his potential as kind of that backup center role. Definitely going to be looking more at kind of the guys like Jackson Kirkland, trying to see Deontay Smith if he can manage to get out there. I know someone was asking about McKinley Jackson as we were talking about the defensive line. I think he's still week to week with that knee injury, and I'm not sure if we'll see him. But yeah, defensive line rotation. We have these spots: linebacker, D line, wide receiver. We have so many young, interesting talents. Which, again, we talked about earlier how they've seemingly hit on a lot of these kind of UDFAs and late round guys in the last couple of years, and that's kind of helped float the roster. And that's so much better to look at than opposed to like, God, just one of these guys do something cool. Like, just do something, you know, the old meme of like poking the stick, like do something, please, you know. Now you have this wealth of people that you get to look at, excited for the tight ends, especially Eric All. Surprised to see him back from injury and getting cleared for contact so soon. So just very excited for, like you said, all these backup positions to just go against a tier of starters or second stringers or third stringers, one tier higher than they did last week, and see, hey, do you continue to be good? Do you drop off suddenly and kind of have that? Because it was so obvious that Jermaine Burton was the best player on the field when he got out there, right? Like he looked like a man among boys, right? And so you want to see that continue and just kind of like, hey, are you going to sustain this to the point where you have an argument to move yourself further and further up the depth chart? We've seen guys do this like Jesse Bates, you know, as you continue to just look good and look good and look good as you go against better competition. And then suddenly you get to the season, and maybe this was Amarius Mims at this point. We'll never know. Woulda, shoulda, coulda, what if, right? But yeah, you might have these other guys who really surprisingly push for some of these spots. So I'm very excited to just see everybody go against one tier better of competition and see who's still standing as a preseason standout and who kind of falters back to their baseline.